So the prop firm industry is exploding, but the question is, are prop firms right for you? Should you be using prop firms or should you be using your own personal trading account? That's what we're going to be looking at in today's video. Let's get into it. So, prop firms versus personal accounts. What's the truth? Should you be using a prop firm account? Should you be using a personal trading account? What are the pros and cons of each? And if you've been paying attention to the trading space for any length of time, I'm sure in the last year, 2 years, you've seen a plethora of prop firms springing up, a few prop firms also dying out and completely shutting down their business. It's a really exciting time for traders, and the question really becomes, what are your options? What should you be considering? And how should you be thinking about it? So my goal in this video is to really delve into what traders should be thinking about, how they should be analyzing the opportunity, what should be going through their minds, and how they can decide whether or not to use a prop firm or to use their personal trading account. So just to lay down the fundamentals, just so we all know we're speaking the same language and we're saying the same things, right? So essentially, what is a prop firm? A prop firm is a company that provides its traders with access to capital in return for a percentage of the profits generated. And like I said, if you've been paying attention, if you've been around the trading community for any length of time, you would have heard of a number of these big names in the prop firm trading space, right? So FTMO, my Forex funds, my funded FX, the funded trader, these are all prop firms that you can go into and pay to take a challenge. And once you pass the challenge, based on the rules that they give you, you are provided with capital to trade. All right. And whatever profits are generated from the prop firm account that you are given, there is a profit split between yourself and the prop firm, and it could be 80-20, it could be 90-10, and recently I've seen as high as 94-6. So that's essentially what the prop firm account, if you've been around for any length of time, like I'm saying, this is not new to you. It's the new wave. And prior to now, we had what was known as personal trading accounts. So you could basically go into a broker like Pepperstone, like XNS, like 8cap or IC Markets, and basically open an account with the broker and fund it with your personal money and use that to buy and sell different assets that are provided by the broker, right? So this used to be the standard way that people would get into trading. Prop firms weren't as popular, but in the last 3 to 5 years, they've completely exploded. I mean, at last count, I heard one of the CEOs of one of the prop firms saying that he was tracking about 200 prop firms in the industry. And I understand that the industry is worth about $1.5 billion annually now. So it's an exciting time for traders. We've never had, the options that we have today. But I want to get into what the pros and cons of each of these two categories are. Because I think a lot of times we get caught up in the hype and, we kind of move with the herd and move with the crowd, and we fail to stop and take a step back to say, is this really right for me based on my circumstances? And that's what I really want to tackle in this video. So let's begin with a prop firm, right? What are the pros and cons of trading with a prop firm? Now, with the pros, the first thing obviously is leverage, right? Traders get to benefit from using leverage that enables them to take larger positions in the marketplace, right? So if you have just a $500, in capital, and you opened, a personal trading account with $500, all you could do is trade with $500, right? But if you had $500 and you took it to a prop firm, you could get about a 100K account. If you pass the challenge for 100K account, you could technically trade with the leverage of $100,000, right? So basically going with the prop firm allows you to have leverage that allows you to take bigger positions. So with a $500 account, if you're trading and you're risking 10% on the account, you're risking 1% on the account. If you take that same percentage and you translate it to risking 1% on a 100K account, you're taking larger positions. And if you happen to have like a 1:2, your return on a 1% risk with the 2% gain is going to be bigger on a 100K account, basically, right? Now, second pro of trading with a prop firm obviously is a minimal risk, right? So your risk is really just limited to the amount that you invested in the challenge. So if you pay a $500 for a 100K account, you are not liable for any of the losses that you take on that account. So if you trade with $500, if you pay $500 and you fail the challenge, the only thing that you're held accountable for, or the only thing that you can lose, is how much money you use to pay for the challenge, right? So if you took $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 loss on a 100K account with $500, you're not liable to pay for any of that. So obviously your risk is minimized, right? Excuse me. And with a prop firm, you can also realize faster gains, like I said. So if you're trading like a 500K account, if you're trading like a 100K account and you make 10%, you make $10,000, right? Whereas if you're trading a $500 account and you make 10%, you only make $50. So $50 versus making $10,000, and you're technically making the same percentage. So percentage is the same, but just because you have more leverage, more capital, you can make faster gains, right? So those are some of the pros of trading with a prop firm. Now, what are some of the cons? The first one is ownership, right? So the capital that you're trading is never really yours. That it's important to understand that the capital is not really yours. You're borrowing capital to trade with, right? So if, knock on wood, the prop firm just happens to up and disappear, and this is not impossible, right? We've seen a couple of prop firms in the last year or two that have just completely vanished. They rose to fame, they blew up, and then overnight they just, shut up shop, and traders were left, with the bag, left holding the bag. So it's not impossible. It's a very real thing. And you have to understand that opening a prop firm today doesn't take a lot of capital, right? There are white label services that an individual could go to and pay relatively nothing compared to what they could make in the industry, and just rebrand it, give them their name, give them the logo, and completely rebrand it and resell it as though they created the prop firm themselves, but they're just reselling a white label solution, right? So when you're dealing with a prop firm, you're opening up yourself to risk. You're opening up yourself to the risk of the company being there or not. You're opening up yourself to the risk of whether or not they'll even be able to pay you when the time comes. And so that risk is very real. And so it's important for you to do your due diligence. Are you trading with a trustworthy firm, with a firm that is liquid, with a firm that is doing things that is going to enable them to remain profitable long term in order to be able to pay you when the time comes, right? So ownership of the capital is a big problem when you're trading with a prop firm. Number two is false confidence. The barrier to entry with prop firms is so low, and because of that, it makes a lot of newbie traders, a lot of neophyte traders rush into it thinking they are ready for it, and they can always get a free retrial in some cases, pay for a reset. So when they're trading, there is this false sense of confidence when you're going with a prop firm, because all you just need to risk is just a relatively small amount of money. Just pay $50 and you get a $5,000 account, or pay $300 and you get a $50K account, right? So relatively speaking, when they do the math in their minds, it's like, oh, even if I lose that amount of money, it's not much compared to what I could gain, right? And because what you could potentially gain seems so big, it is very easy to assume you're ready. And what you could gain, what you need to give for what you could gain is very little. So even if you're not 100% ready, for a lot of them, they rationalize it out and there's like, oh, but it's not a big deal. Even if I fail, it's not a big deal. So they become a little bit more accepting of failure and a little bit more accepting of, just being a little bit irresponsible, right? And it creates a false sense of confidence. you can look at a prop firm and be like, you know what, their rules are not that difficult. The money I need to pay, I need to pony up is not that much, and I think, I've taken a few trades here and there, and, with a little bit of luck, I think I could pass, because your level of investment isn't much. Now, imagine if prop firms were asking you to pony up $5,000, for a challenge. You would think twice before going. You would really ask yourself, do I have the skill it takes to actually pay the $5,000 and pass the challenge? But because it's going to cost you just $50, $100, $150, $300, and you can easily, make that back from your day job or borrow it from someone else and take another challenge if you fail, people tend to rush into it. And so prop firms create a false sense of confidence, right? Another problem in prop firms is the unrealistic rules that they set, right? You need to understand that the rules of the prop firm are designed to keep them profitable. It's not designed to make it easy for people to trade. It's not. All right. You're giving things like 30 days to pass, right? And you're supposed to make, say, 10% within 30 days. Again, is it realistic? I need you to really take a step back and ask yourself the question. Now, forget about social media. Forget about what you're seeing people posting on social media for a second, because social media is filled with landmines, and social media should never be used as the lens through which you view what is actually going on in trading. Because if social media was to be believed, a lot of people are profitable, and if that were the case, a lot more people would be passing challenges. But go and check the statistics. A lot of the prop firms post their statistics, their numbers out there. They post their statistics out there, and you can easily tell that the percentage of people that are passing challenges versus those that are failing, there's a huge gap. And the reason there's a huge gap is because the rules are not designed to make it easy for you to pass. You need to understand that. 6% drawdown. Now think about it, right? Think about it. If you had $100 account, right, and you took a 6% loss, what's like, I'm talking about $100 account of your own money with a broker. If you lost 6% on $100, that's $6. My question to you is, would that be the end of your trading career? Would you even be that bothered if you took a trade on $100 account and lost $6? Or let's say, for example, you took a trade on $1,000 account and lost $60. Would it shake your confidence that I'm not good enough? I'm talking about if this happened on your personal account. Or let's say, for example, your personal account was a $10,000 account and you took a loss of $600 on a $10,000 account. It wouldn't shake your confidence all that much. It wouldn't bother you all that much. It would be like a scratch. It would be like, yeah, I wish I didn't take that $6 loss on my $100 account, or I wish I didn't take that $60 loss on my $1,000 account. But you're gonna just dust yourself up and get right back in, right? But guess what? 6% drawdown is the max you can lose on a lot of prop firm challenges. And if you lose that, guess what? They fail the account. They fill the account for something that in the real world of trading, or in a world where you were trading your personal money, if you lost 6%, it's not that big of a deal, right? You could easily bounce back from that. But it's part of the rules. You cannot lose more than 6%. And you need to make 10% in 30 days. It's unrealistic, because there are months where you're going to do 2-3%. There are traders I know, very good, successful traders, profitable traders, who sometimes in a month make 4%. Sometimes they make 5%. Sometimes they make 6%. All right. To do 10% in 30 days requires a level of skill that few traders in this game have. And that's why, for me, it's unrealistic, right? So those are a few of the pros and cons of trading with a prop firm. Now, the last one would be profit split. Obviously, whatever money you make, you need to split it, right? It's not a terribly bad con. Obviously, the prop firm needs to make money some way, somehow. Okay, so you make any money, you need to take a withdrawal. And every time you're withdrawing, they're taking a cut. All right. So technically, again, going back to the issue of ownership, it's not yours. Anytime you need to make a withdrawal, they charge a fee. You've passed the challenge, right? You've already paid for the challenge. Of course, you can get that refunded back to you if you pass. But now every time you're withdrawing, you need to pony up something, right? It's not a bad thing, but I need you to understand that the prop firm is in this to make money. They're not in this to make you rich. We'll come back to that. Now, pros and cons of trading with a personal account. All right. Ownership. Obviously, the capital is yours, right? So unless your broker has a major meltdown or a major issue, your capital is relatively safe. And whatever money you make, there's no profit split. You don't share with anyone. 100% of it is yours. Okay. Number two, no unrealistic rules. You take a 6% loss. Hey, shake it off. Maybe take a week or two off from trading, which you can't do if you're trading a prop firm account because you've got 30 days. You can't just take a break because you're having, maybe some issues with your psychology and you need to take a break from the charts. You can't do that. You've got 30 days and you need to pass. But you take a 6% loss. You could take a day, 2 days, even a week, as long as you want. It's your trading account. You step aside for a bit and you come back. You can always come back from a 6% loss with your personal account. But for most prop firms, 6% loss, you cannot come back from that. You lose that, you failed. And it's unrealistic. Like I said, I mean, you're not gonna end your trading career because you lost $60 on $1,000 account. It's not happening. I mean, it's not. So yeah. Another pro is, obviously it forces patience. All right. So again, going back to the issue of the capital, the barrier of entry for prop firms, because again, like the barrier of entry is so low, right? People often don't take it seriously. They don't really think about, what they're doing when they're opening an account with a prop firm or when they're paying for a challenge, because it's not a lot of money to give up, because you're paying just a little bit of money to access this potential huge capital, right? But if you're trading with your own personal money and you put in $1,000 or you put in $800, you know that once that money is gone, it's gone, right? So you're going to trade a lot more responsibly. You're going to be a lot more patient. And you know that if you blow the account, your personal money is gone. There's no insulation from any losses in the market. Every loss is a loss of your personal money. So trading your own personal account forces you to learn to be patient, right? With a prop firm account, you pay $50, you're able to get a challenge, you pass the challenge, and you get rewarded with a big account, whether or not you're ready for it, whether or not it was a bit of luck, right? And you could pass a challenge by luck. Doesn't mean you're skilled, right? Keeping the account and getting consistent payouts from the prop firm is a completely different ballgame. You could pass it by luck. You could get a payout by luck. But if you still have the account after a year and a half, 2 years, completely different story, right? So trading your own personal account forces you to be patient. It forces you to trade responsibly because you've got a lot more skin in the game. You have a lot more to lose, right? Because it's your money. It's not money that you are borrowing from someone, right? But what are some of the cons of trading with a personal account? Obviously, leverage, right? Unless you have a huge sum of money to invest, you're probably going to be opening a relatively small account, and therefore you may not be able to take large positions in the market, right? Increased risk, right? If you fill a prop firm account, your loss, like I said, is limited to what you paid for in the challenge. Your own personal account, you incur losses from the trading itself. You lose money, okay? Slower gains, right? So if you make 10% on a 100K account, you're making $10,000. You make 10% on a 10,000 personal account, you're only making $1,000. And this can lead to over leveraging. It forces people to take trades or take risks that if they were trading with a bigger account, they probably wouldn't take, just because they want the money to be a lot more meaningful. Okay, if you're gonna trade a 100K account and you make 10%, in 3 months you've made 30,000. But if you're doing the same thing with a 10K account in 3 months, you've made just $3,000, right? So it's it can be slow. It can be slow, but like I said already, I think it forces you to be patient. It forces you to develop muscles. It forces you to walk before you run, right? If you just pay for a challenge and by sheer luck you're able to pass and you get handed a 50K account or you get handed a 100K account, it doesn't necessarily mean you're ready to trade with that volume of capital. But if you're trading your personal account and you've grown it from $1,000 to 4,000 to 5,000 to 10,000 to 20,000 to 50,000, by the time you're at $50,000 in your account, there's a lot you've learned. You've gone through the process. You've gone through through overcoming yourself. You've fought a lot of internal battles. You've developed and grown as a trader. But getting a 50K account just because you're able to pass a challenge in 30 days doesn't mean you're ready to handle that volume of capital. And it doesn't mean long term you're going to be able to keep it. But if you're able to grow an account from $5,000 to $10,000 to $20,000 to $50,000, there's a lot of personal growth that you will have to go through in order to get there. And by the time you get there, you will be a much better trader. Okay. So, having said all of this, question is, which one is right for you? Right? Should you go with a prop firm account? Should you go with a trading account? Now, make no mistakes about it. I'm not against prop firm accounts. I think they're amazing, and I think they offer a wonderful opportunity for traders to, actually go full time faster than ever before, right? But again, the question is it right for you? And I'm going to tell you my thoughts, right? These are my thoughts. Like I said in the beginning, these are the cold hard facts. Prop firms are in business to make money. Do not forget that. They are in business to make money. They are not in business to make your dreams come true. They are in business. No matter how they pitch it in their marketing, they are in business to make money. And the reality is, they make money when people fail challenges. The more people fail challenges, the more money they make. It is what it is. It's the truth. All right? They make money when people fail challenges, and also they make money when they copy trades of profitable traders. Now, this is something you should never forget. The rules they put in place are designed. They are designed to separate the top 10% of traders from the bottom 90%. That's why those rules exist. They do not exist to make it easy for people to pass challenges. That's not why they are there. They are there so that the prop firm can identify the cream of the crop. So they can identify the apex traders. So they can identify the top traders. So they can identify the best traders. That's why those rules are there. Now, if that is true, if it is true that the prop firm puts these rules in place so they can identify the top of the top of the top of the top of traders, then you have no business trading with the prop firm if you're still learning, if you're still figuring out your edge, and if you're still figuring out your system. You have no business doing it. Because the goal of the prop firm, the very reason, if they didn't want to identify the best of the best, there would be no rules. If they weren't really interested in identifying the best of the best, the rules will be extremely simple. You need to just come in, you've got no time limit, and you just need to make 0.5% profit. Everybody will get funded. But that's not the rules, and that's not the rules for a reason. The reason is because the goal is to find the best of the best of the best, not to give access to everyone. So you need to really think hard about where you're at in your trading. And you need to keep in mind that live trading is difficult in and of itself. It's hard enough. But When you go into a prop firm, you are compounding that, because now you need to not only trade and make money, you need to do it underneath very strict circumstances and very strict conditions. And that takes it to a whole new level. You're almost guaranteeing you're going to fail. All right. So keep that in the back of your mind. The prop firm exists to make money. The prop firm puts rules in place to identify the best of the best of the best, to identify the top 10%. All right. Passing a challenge and making it to a payout are two different things. And even after you make it to a payout, getting payouts consistently is an entirely different thing. And I think, I think people think once you pass the challenge, the rules of the prop firm go away. They don't go away. They're still there. They're still there. You've still got the drawdown rules. You've still got the drawdown rules. You cannot draw down the account beyond a certain point. You can't. All right. So even if you want to trade with a prop firm, here's my advice. Use them to acquire capital and fund your personal trading account. That's what you should do. But before you do that, understand that when you pay for a challenge, you're going into a pool. You're going into a pool of thousands and thousands and thousands of traders. And the prop firm is only looking for the top 5 to 10%. The question is, do you believe your skill is at the point where you could come out in the top 5 to 10%? Because make no mistakes about it, only about 10 or 20% of people are passing these challenges. That's the truth. That's the reality. So for every 100 people that take a challenge, 800 people are going to fail. It is the reality. The numbers and the odds are not in your favor. So you have to ask yourself, are you at a point where you figured out your edge and you're making consistent capital? You're making consistent money, sorry. So in essence, this is the summary of everything I'm trying to say. I would only recommend a prop trading account if you have an edge, you already know how to find setups, your psychology is already in check, you're consistently profitable, but your only problem is capital. You cannot do a prop firm account and still be figuring out yourself, or still be figuring out your trade strategy, or still be figuring out your risk management. You can't do that. You need to come into the prop firm account already on autopilot. You need to come in with, okay, I know the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things I need to be doing. I know the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things I need to be looking for. I know the conditions under which I engage. I know the conditions under which I sit on my hands. I know that already, because you need to perform within a certain framework. And when you get into that framework, you already need to have your game plan. You should have already tested your game plan. You should have already been consistently profitable with your game plan. I'm not saying you should have been making big money. I'm saying you should have been consistently profitable, which means month to month to month to month for at least 6 months, you should be on the up and up. Even if it's 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%, whatever it is, you should be consistently profitable for a period of time. You shouldn't come into prop firms figuring out how you're going to trade. So if you've got an edge, if you know how to find setups, your psychology is in check, you're profitable, doesn't matter if you're profitable by $10, $20 on a $100 account, irrelevant, but you're profitable. But your only problem is capital, because that's the real reason or the real advantage of a prop firm. If your only problem is capital, you're ready to go. In my opinion, I think you're ready to go. All right. That's when I feel a prop firm account is right for you. Anything short of that, you should probably be trading your personal account, or even better yet, a demo account. A demo or a personal account. I cannot recommend a prop firm account for you in that instance. All right, because again, keep it in mind. I'm saying it for the last time. The rules are in place. They are designed to separate the top 10% from the bottom 90%. And so I hope you got something out of this video. I hope I've made it easier for you to think about whether or not you should be trading with a prop firm or trading with your own personal account. And if you found value in this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and keep up with me for new videos that I'm going to be releasing. Thanks, and be safe.